So let's also move on to our next discussion. It was World Refugee Day yesterday, a day designed by the United Nations to honor refugees around the globe. It falls on the 20th of June, as it is yesterday. Now, World Refugee Day is an occasion to build empathy and understanding for their plight and to recognize their resilience in rebuilding their lives. Hafiz.
Yeah, refugees.
Yep.
The issues of refugees is not one that we can completely digest on with just some few minutes.
Right.
But we need to understand that, refugee situations aren't exactly situations that are born out of mainly conflict. Yes, you can have situations of natural disasters that,
Could see people
that are more than equally up to the task of turning people into
exactly.
refugees.
Yeah,
We've seen
seeking
volcanic
refuge.
eruptions recently in somewhere in Congo.
DR Congo.
Yes,
Yeah,
recently. There are issues of famine, there are issues of drought and everything. So
it's not just about war, conflict,
exactly. So people getting displaced every now and then. It could either be man-made or
natural
in a
disasters.
certain way. But I think even with UNHCR, they tend to have a bias towards the man-made ones. Yes, and they seem to put priority
On
over
the conflicts.
yes. So that's why
based,
you
okay.
have a lot of refugee talks seems to be centered around the conflict-related ones. But then again, with refugees, you realize that you have them moving from place to place, for whatever reason, is trying to find, make a better life for themselves. And you see, the thing about them is that when they move, they're not exactly moving into automatically because you move, you are moving into a better situation.
Yeah.
The grass is not always greener.
Green.
So it's not always that easy because you could actually be moving into a very worse situation. Yes, we've seen that because we've seen people move into certain countries, and these countries that are trying to play host to them are even struggling to meet the basic needs of
Of their own citizens. Yeah. How
So,
much more?
Yes, so they can hardly even make a room for you beyond the emergency care they will give you, say shelter. That's it. Whatever that lies ahead, well, it's up to you and your God. So
I think that the situation that actually comes to the rescue is the intervention of the United Nations bodies. I think for them they are more into that. So when you have such instance, I think they coming to solve the situation because I think in most cases the country or the country they're actually moving to may not be able to save the situation at the end of the day.
no, even with United Nations, UNHCR, that oversees
Refugees
matters
and-
on refugees and everything. There's a group they call the eternally displaced persons. It's
Okay.
a refugee situation as well, but even that is even more difficult to handle rather than you have situations where there's a cross-border one, because it's easy for, say, Barry, you trying to move into another country and there's a whole talk about it. Then you have the international community come in, okay, because there's a whole law and studying around it and human rights
Right.
situation around
So
it.
the internally displaced person
So
is even more difficult to
It's
handle.
exactly.
Okay.
Yes,
because it's the same territory.
Because it's within the country, and within the country there are sovereign laws. So
Right.
if you talk about, say, for instance, you take the issue of, say, Biafra,
Okay.
okay, and you have instances where people get displaced when things like that happen.
Where do they move to?
Where do they move to? That's the question.
Within the country.
Within the country, and you don't have, you
Yeah.
can't have UN, but come in and say like,
This state or this.
do this, do that.
Yeah. Because
Nigeria's
they have
gonna
their
be
own
like, hey,
laws.
exactly.
Handle your business.
You are interfering in our personal
Right,
affairs, so
right.
back off. So in that instance, it becomes a big problem because some of them, yes, they want to move, but
They can't.
They can't leave the country.
Exactly. All right. Epi, let me come to you. World Refugee Day.
Yeah.
A big shout out to the camp we have here. What's the name again? Budumburam. Yeah. And that's camping the Liberians, right?
Yeah.
Liberians,
That's
right.
where it started. Yeah.
Okay.
I think refugees, we can't start today and finish with them, but
Yeah.
I want to look at the good point. I mean, the fact that I have done good stories on this very show about refugees who have been innovative despite the places they find themselves. It's very difficult for them to actually have to move out of wherever they find themselves. Let's say their vicinities or their surroundings or their countries and have to go to a different place. Sometimes you don't imagine being in a strange land and then you're sick. How to even get access to a doctor is a problem. And then how to let your children settle in and go to school is another problem. And then how to be able to say, okay, I want to focus on what I can do, or be able to develop yourself in another place that you're not familiar with is also a problem. I mean, the whole refugee thing is more of a problem because it even puts them into a dilemma, the trauma and everything of it, especially if it happens out of war. And the people have to see the horrors of the war, and then the war, and they have to go to another country and now start afresh. It's a very, very difficult thing. And I can only say we're grateful for the existence of some organizations, both international and local, because we actually have organizations on the continent that actually help refugees who move into different places. We also have organizations that are headed by refugees who have survived and decided that, look, I know what I went through, and I feel I want to reach out and help other refugees when they go into different places. So I think it's a good thing that, I mean, we have a day that looks at them. But one thing I want to mention is they don't give up. I mean, looking at the desert case, was it Kenya? One of these countries. There's this camp there, and actually we have two inventions that have come from there by some of the refugees, and I felt it was a good thing.
I remember you talked about
one
of those sometime.
It was very amazing that they didn't let the situation or whatever it was just keep them where they were. They tried to strive and make something out of it. Yes, and actually worked for them. And also for this year's theme, basically it's simple. We're saying that this year the World Refugee Day basically is together we heal, learn and shine.
Okay.
Together we heal, learn and shine. Yes,
and
that's
shine.
the theme. Yes.
Okay. The show was Africa Daily on Africa Global Radio. We have some few minutes to go. Let's just touch base on the ECOWAS summit that happened here last Saturday in Albies, Ghana.
Okay.
This follows the previous one they had in February, and I think that in February in this year 2021, and member states. I'm just impressed by Goodluck Jonathan.
Why?
He's not a president, but he seemed to be present at every ECOWAS meeting. I don't know if other countries also have other ex-leaders being party, but I think Goodluck Jonathan has been like one of those pivotal, contributor to the operations of ECOWAS. But I think another is more of like they are. I want to say for some time now, I think these times I feel ECOWAS has been like, I don't know if it's me that's not up to speed with their operation, but every now and then we hear ECOWAS up to speed. I mean, meetings and what. This is the second time or the third time they haven't meeting here in Albies, Ghana. So second time. I think the first one was the coup in Mali. I saw the emergency meeting. And then the guy is no joke. Yeah, the guy is So I mean, one of the of course headed by the chairman of ECOWAS, the president of Ghana, President Akufo-Addo, and they actually touched on some salient issues. COVID-19 at the very top. AFCFTA, Africa Continental Free Trade Area. ECHO. So yeah, I think ECHO has been in the news for some time now. So are we seeing a possible what do you call it? ECHO currency. What's your problem? Let me. I think I actually want to see that. You talked about rotation of leadership inside the region and continent, security challenges and terror attacks for West Africa, very, very key. I mean, it's not easy lately. Sea piracy, another issue, because recently, even in Ghana, some, expatriates were abducted. I think, Epi, you made that. I don't know if you talked about it. It's very worrying. The Mali crisis. Yeah, he actually he's not a transitional president. The guy has taken over. And talked about strengthening the regional bloc. Hafiz, let me start with you real quick.
Yeah, you touched on just quickly on the pointers that they are talking about. COVID response. I mean, in a pandemic, I mean, a lot of people seem to think that, well, life has returned to normal. And
it hasn't.
It hasn't. I mean, but you look around and you think people have almost made COVID a distant
We're done,
memory.
we've forgotten about it.
And that is worrying. Because if you take a look at recent numbers in Uganda, they seem to have an upsurge of cases there. Yes, and I think they even instituted a lockdown last week or so. So
right.
Yes, if we are taking any cue from that, we can't rest on our laurels.
Absolutely.
So we would have to, be more proactive in our approach and response to it. And I think well, adding COVID to the list of items to be
It's
discussed.
very important.
It's very important there. And they moved on to the Africa Continental Free Trade Area after. Yes, I think we've talked about it endlessly on this platform about having the need to get people to be trading on the
Amongst
continent,
African
amongst
states.
Africans. Of course, I mean it's a novelty that is still in the works. Of course, it's going to take time for this thing to actually mature
Assimilate, getting
because
people on
yes,
board and
because
all.
with AFTA, I mean we still have one country that has decided it's not going to sign on to the
Is
whole
it one
idea.
country? We have more than one
Yes,
country.
I think it was Eritrea. Yes, Eritrea.
Really?
Yes.
I
yes.
thought we had more than one country.
Is
We do
Eritrea
have
or
more than
whereabouts?
one. I don't know,
Yeah.
but the last time we talked about it was like 33 countries.
Eritrea, okay.
Yeah, so I
So
think
I
there
think-
are more than one
Yes, and so
countries.
and there are still issues with AFTA. I mean, when you talk about the borders, having people trade, it's not easy to have people trade and move around when it comes to-
Freely, at
exactly.
will.
Yes,
Just-
borders, and you have road networks so there's a lot that has to be done there. But I think it's one
It's
thing.
gradually
It's a
gaining.
novelty people are excited about, and we'll
Right.
see how that plays out.
Okay.
There's also Echo on the list.
Yeah, very
This
important.
currency
Why
issue.
were you? Why are you so? I don't know. You
What,
seem not to be
pessimistic?
absolutely not
No.
pessimistic, but you seem not to be seeing this as a realization.
It's
Is
not
that because
gonna
we talked
happen.
about it over time?
Charlie,
Epi.
this thing has been postponed more than 4 times.
Let me ask Epi. Do you see us having the single currency western parts of Africa? Echo.
When did Kwame Nkrumah talk about a United States of Africa?
Is this supposed to happen?
I'm
in
just
a
asking
day?
you, when did he talk about it?
Very.
Yes, I
If
think
it would have
over,
happened, it's
over
not
60
to-
years ago.
So
I
it will,
think.
look, there'll be so many meetings on it.
Rome wasn't built in a day, guys. That's your
Understand
problem.
So when it comes, we are here waiting for it.
Okay.
The thing, one of the conditions for ECHO to actually happen is that these countries need to hit a single-digit inflation.
And they're nowhere close.
Check our numbers.
Are we?
Check Ghana's
Well,
numbers.
the Economist.
Check Nigeria's
Mm.
numbers.
We'll get to
Please,
that's actually the biggest
please.
economy in West Africa. So maybe
so-
they can lead the way.
So that is a huge issue there.
Right.
Okay.
Mm.
And not just that, we have a lot of economies that are still very much import dependent.
Yeah. The imports
Import
exceeds exports. So clearly,
we have issues of balance of trade here.
deficit. on that,
There's going to be a problem there.
Right.
So,
Right.
Echo,
There's a whole lot.
Well, this time around, they've set a new date. I think they are talking 2027. 2027.
There's going to be an echo.
Yes.
Let me put
That-
it in my dictionary. Wait, my diary. What
That's
is
the
it?
target, 2027.
Possible.
And we're going to have echo by
So
2027.
it's 2021. So per account, I think
6 more years.
6 more years.
Yeah.
Let's see. Hopefully, we won't be talking about this in 6.
Yeah.
To actually,
yeah.
Okay, so and then moving on, they're talking about rotation of leadership inside
Yeah.
the region and continent. So I think it has to do with the way, especially with Mali in focus these days,
Yeah.
where you have issues of handing over power, blah blah blah, and so it is an important area to discuss. There's also security challenges and terror attacks for
Which
West
I think is really
Africa.
huge. Which I think is
Yes,
really,
so
really huge.
This is not just the Mali incident, but Burkina.
Yeah,
case in
Burkina.
point.
Yeah.
So
Recently,
Burkina
some
seems to be-
120 people were just murdered in this village,
So
man.
and Ghana being very close to Burkina, we need to also be very worried.
I think
if
Bur-
that is the case with the terrorist activities they're going on.
Yeah.
In this anyway, so
Yeah.
we need
Yeah.
to be very worried there. And they are also talking about sea piracy, operational maritime.
Yeah.
So anyway, and I think recently Ghana was given a yellow card. yes,
Really?
by the European Union. Yes.
Because
Because of the activities of pirates on the seas, I think, especially the Gulf of Guinea is one of the dangerous areas. So what they are saying is, if we don't get a handle on it, we probably are not. They are not going to be trading with us.
oh la
anymore.
la.
Yes. So
Yeah,
the
because
yellow
they
card
are-
is what you get before you get a red, which means.
Of course, if you're a football fanatic, you should understand that, or
So,
any other sports
yes,
activity.
so
Yeah.
It was something that came up recently, but this is something that was happening in our base Ghana.
Okay.
Yes, and yes, of course, there's also Mali crisis on it.
Yeah.
So and as it is, I think the whole consensus is that they are trying to, ostracize Assimi Goita now for now, because, I mean, with the way he's behaved
Can't just
in the
cease
situation
power
of Mali.
at will,
Exactly.
you know.
So they are not exactly trying to encourage his behavior. So let's see what comes out of these deliberations.
Okay, thank you, Hafiz. Epi, any final talks right there?
I think Hafiz has mainly touched on everything.
The areas
I just want to
talked
say, I
about.
mean, it's good they talk about it, but we just want to see some action.
I'm very much keen or concerned about the issue of security within the West African region. Because even in Mali at the moment, the French, I don't know if they have pulled their troops
Yeah,
yet,
the
but they are actually
president has threatened to.
exactly. So you see, that's like you've opened the doors to these guys to practically invade, and whoever they want to attack or even usher into their whatever brotherhood they have.
But I just want to send out a word of caution. We should also be careful the sort of WhatsApp messages that
We
put
receive.
around. There was one I
Yeah.
saw about, them talking about terrorists coming to the northern part of Ghana, blah blah blah, and so people should not stay outdoors. And I'm like, what sort of advice is this?
Yeah, like you're frightening the public.
No, even if you have terrorists, do you advise people to stay indoors?
What would they eat? Behave.
Yes, because
Okay.
in certain advanced countries where we've seen threats like this,
Yeah.
they advise people. In America, there was the see something, say something.
You
mantra.
try to give.
Yes.
Yeah.
So telling people
intel.
to be more
Identify.
observant,
Yeah.
to identify packages that are
When you see something,
that are
quickly
unattended.
report.
Exactly. But you don't tell
Don't
people to
see
go
them
and
run
see it.
away.
Yeah.
No. All right. Thank you very much, guys, for sharing and for listening as well.
Enjoy the video. Don't forget to like, subscribe, and share.